Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Toledo. I saw the line out at the buffet, and I thought I'd delay us a few minutes. And so it's up to our next guest to save us 5 minutes. You got this. All right, this time I'd like to ask Tracy Tangeman to come to the podium to deliver a reflection and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm going to take 5 minutes. Good afternoon. I have a reflection for us today. It is true, disappointing, sometimes even life-altering events occur that are beyond our control, sometimes despite our best efforts. So often these circumstances don't make sense, and judgment, however earnest, is futile. What is left to each of us every day, what we can control, is self, service, and action. We have the choice of self to be who we want to be, in good times and in bad. It is a question of character, to strive daily to do the right thing and be our best selves, even when the pettiness or trespasses of others tempt us otherwise. We have the choice of service, to serve others in our community in good times and in bad. It is a question of priorities, to make of our time, to give of our treasure, or to use our natural talent, even when such resources are precious and seemingly better spent benefiting ourselves. We have the choice of action, to act, to make our community and the world better, in good times and in bad. It is a question of motivation, to do more than talk on the sidelines or criticize from afar, but join the fray, even when our efforts may seem fruitless and the yield invisible. Whether we speak of ourselves, our service, or our action, these are all within our control. They are defined by each of us every day in good times and in bad. That is what Rotary is about, and Rotary is what brings all of us together in this room and what binds us when we leave. May that guide you, your choices, and your actions going forward. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tracy, thank you very much. Thank you for your leadership as the chair of the Reflection Committee. And also thank you for accepting the nomination to serve on the board of directors for the Rotary Club of Toledo, along with Max Reddish and Bob Tucker. So thank you to those three, and we wish you the best of luck come election season. As we begin our meeting, I'd like to thank and acknowledge Hartman Bogan as this month's sponsor and Rotarian Donna Bogan. Thank you, Donna. And also thank you to Donna for accepting the nomination to serve as the next president of the Rotary Club of Toledo. We also wish her luck come election season. If anyone has any guests they would like to introduce, please come forward and bring your guest to a mic so everyone can clearly hear and see you and your guest. We are asking that members introduce the guest with the name, the company, and the role only in the interest of time. Guests, we're excited you're here, but please leave the speaking to your Rotary host. Thank you.
President Kevin and fellow Rotarians, I am delighted and excited to have Tim Fields of BESNX. He is the president and founder of that nonprofit organization. So please, thank you for allowing me to bring him today. I'm excited he's here. Thanks.
Tim, welcome.
President Kevin, I am happy to share that my friend Molly Long is with us today. Molly is the executive director of the TPS Foundation, Toledo Public Schools, and she's here with us today. So thank you.
Molly, welcome.
President Kevin, I brought with me today my law partner, Matt Kemp at Shoemaker. He's going to be a new member within the Shoemaker's corporate membership.
Matt, welcome to Rotary.
President Kevin, I have brought two guests today. Precious Tate, who is the new foundation coordinator for the John Henry Eldred Jr. Foundation, and Maria Eiffelis, who is our community impact officer.
Precious, Maria, thank you for being here.
Oh, look, my height. Hi, President Kevin. I brought Natalie Greaser. She is new with Knight Insurance, and she specializes in home and auto insurance.
Awesome. Natalie, welcome.
Hi, I'm Deborah Ayers from the Avalon Foundation. I have three guests with me today. I have Brianna Budd from King Insurance. I have Jamie Helt, who is the new president of Highland Employee Benefits. And I have Daryl Glaze, who is the founder of Culture DEI.
Thank you.
Brianna, Jamie, Daryl, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, good afternoon, President Kevin. I brought Amanda Cook with me today. I was honored to play in a golf tournament at Mad Ave Marketing this past summer, and they asked about Rotary, and so here she is. Thanks.
Amanda, welcome.
Hello, President Kevin and fellow Rotarians. Oh, sorry. I have three guests today. My first guest is, he's the Chief Operations Officer with Toledo Celtics, Youssef Ali Akbar. I have Ronnie Gilmore, the owner of the Spin and Splat Art Studio. And I have Dave Dorner, is the Executive Vice President of Integrate. Thank you so much.
Youssef, Ronnie, Dave, welcome to Rotary. Thank you for being here. Do we have any visiting Rotarians from other clubs that are here with us today? Not at the moment? All right. Well, excellent. Well, thank you to all the guests for being here, and thank you to the Rotarians for sharing the gift of Rotary. At this time, I'd like to invite Karis Dukes, our fifth-year participant and Rotary intern, to the podium for some updates regarding what her experience has been like with our club thus far. This is essentially Jackie's 360 evaluation, so.
Hi, everyone. I'm Karis Dukes with the fifth year program, and I have loved being with Rotary for my internship. I had a graphic that was supposed to show all the things that I've been working on. There you go. But, oh, here we are. It's a little busy, but that shows that I've been doing a lot. So some of my favorite things that I've been doing here is I started a committee highlight to highlight the committees and our co-chairs and our chairs. So I've done interviews with them, made a little graphic that goes in the weekly spoke that I send out every Thursday. And yeah, I've also worked on the Rotary Gives Back, what our grant funds are for that we're donating to the community. So, and in the bottom corner, that's me at my first Rotary meeting before I knew that I was actually going to be the intern. So, and now here I am on the stage. So, yeah, I've had a great time meeting all of you guys through Coffee Connections, out in the community, and all the various things. And I hope to stay connected with Rotary after my internship is done. So, thank you for having me. Thank you.
I will say, you know, I appreciate Karis talking about how important or how valuable this internship has been to her. It has been just as valuable to us as individuals and as an organization. I would encourage you, if you are an employer, to have a conversation with the folks from JA about the fifth-year internship program and to see if you might be a good place to host an intern. I think they're still looking for a few sites for second semester, or certainly as this program continues to grow. So we encourage you to check that out. This time, I'd like to ask Emily Zarecki of the Membership Committee to come to the podium for a few membership updates.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Just a quick question. Who remembers our membership goal for this year? Karen. Good point. Anyone? 100 members. Yes. Way to go, Allison. Yes, so we are on our way toward our goal, but we definitely have some more work to do. Since our last update here at the podium, we are now up to 347 members, which is up 17 since the last time we were here. And we have 4 applications in hand. So what I need to remind all of you is when you have a guest with you, remember to reach out to them, encourage them, and all of our guests here today. We'd love to have you join us. So as you bring them as guests, you're kind of their ambassador, and we invite you to reach out to them, encourage them to submit an application. And on the engagement side, Holly Trolley is this Thursday. Please join us. I know I still have to get my ticket, but please join us. 6 o'clock, we're going to be starting at Mommy Bay Brewery and visiting some other establishments in the area. So please join us. We also have our next Coffee Connection, December 6th. We'll be at Earth Coffee at Toll House. So that's another opportunity. We invite you to bring guests to join us there as well. And lastly, for event in December, we've got our holiday party. So just want to remind you also to RSVP on the website. Thank you all.
There were some emails going back and forth this morning about the update on our Olympic run for the gold medal for recruiting the most members. I am happy to report that I am still in first place, so step it up. Shanda Gore and I think Julia Hage are tied for the silver medal at the moment. So still plenty of time for you guys to go for the gold. I think we're up 110 members since the start of last fiscal year. And I said we continue to get messages from other clubs saying, what are you doing? And they don't like the answer, because what they want me to say is we bought a Facebook ad and it worked. But the reality is we're doing the work. You guys are all doing the work, and we're sharing the story. And we're inviting people to join Rotary, and it's working. All right, I'm going to get back to the new members here in a minute. Golf outing committee. Alex Duke convened the first committee meeting of our Founders Day golf outing, what will be the second annual golf outing. If you are interested in being a part of helping us grow that event, we've got some big ideas of things that we want to do through that event, and would love to have your support, whether you're an avid golfer or you just know how to spell the word golf. Either one of those things qualify you to be on the committee. If you can't check either of those boxes, then you get to be the chair of the committee, and you'll take over for Alex. Huge thank you to everybody who participated in the Blade Holiday Parade this past weekend. We had a great group of Rotarians and their families that came out. It was a lot of fun, and I hope this becomes an annual tradition. It was great spending the time. All of us were amazed at how many people were there at the parade. And it was so cool to see people from different corners, at least for me, different corners of my life, that were either in the parade. We had a ton of Rotarians that were clowns. Congratulations to Allison on coordinating that piece. It was great. I saw Lance as a clown. It's the best he's ever looked. It's really impressive. You should try makeup more often. It was really good. So thank you to everybody, and Jackie and Karen for coordinating all of that. Lastly, it's my pleasure to inform you, we talked about growth. We've recently approved the following individuals as members, and I'll ask if they are in the room that they please stand. From Toledo Lucas County Library, Lucas Camuso Stahl. From Owens Corning, Carl Strauss. From Humane Ohio, Laura Simmons Wark. From Nationwide Children's, Jennifer Strauss. From Midwest Centers, Brittany Patterson. From State Farm, Scott Stegall. From CareNet, Julie Grasson. From the University of Toledo, Barbara Kopp-Miller. From Destination Toledo, Mark Brazow. From Destination Toledo, Eric Heineman. From Civista Bank, Mortada Hadusi, which we learned 2 weeks ago is pronounced More-tada. And Ali Abu Ahmed from Real Solar. Please join me in welcoming the new Rotarians. So nobody wants to be the guy that follows the guy, right? You don't want to be the person that has to follow a legend, but this week's speaker is undoubtedly that person. I am pleased to welcome the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club. Please put your hands together and welcome Jim Ravas.
we go. I am the guy to follow the guy, and that's truly the case in this situation. I wanted to start off today a little bit differently than what I have up here on the slide deck. This past week, the guy that I'm following, David Wermeister, he has been in the movement and touched the movement for over 40 years. And from 2000 to 2020, he was in the role that I'm currently in. And this past week, he passed away after a long and heroic battle with cancer. And I would ask if it's all possible, if we could just take a moment just to keep David, Lisa, his children in our prayers this week. Thank you. If you knew David, you knew a guy that was quality, not just as a dad, quality not just as a husband, quality not just as a friend, but a leader within the movement and with the city of Toledo and all the partners that he came into contact with. So he will be greatly missed. And I have to tell you, my day one, the first time I met David, it was August 12th, 2020, and we went out to lunch at Dale's Diner in Maumee during the pandemic, but we were socially distanced, everybody. It was okay. So myself, our board president at the time, and David, and we were talking about all the things that are going on within the movement and all the things that were happening in Toledo, all the good things, but then also the concerns that we were shut down and all our staff had been let go. We weren't serving kids. And when we talked about what's next and what can we do to bring kids back, bring the staff back, and reinvigorate post-pandemic, you could see the excitement and the fight in his eyes that we're going to make this happen, and he would support us in whatever way he possibly could. And as he got up from lunch to leave, he came behind me and he sat his keys down with all the keys for all the cubby holes, doors, and everything in our main administrative office building, and he whispers in my ear, "Don't screw it up." So David, I hope we've done you justice since then. So the Boys and Girls Clubs of Toledo. For those of you who don't know, the Boys and Girls and Clubs of Toledo, we're an organization that serves children ages 7 through 18, although we've 19 as well, through seniors in high school, with after-school programming. And we're here to help these kids. It doesn't matter where you are in the city. It doesn't matter where you are economically. It doesn't matter what your ethnicity is. It doesn't matter anything about anything unless you're a child that wants to better themselves and you want help and you want a mentor. You have a friend at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Toledo. We provide caring mentors a safe place with innovative and quality programming to empower all children to become the best that they can be. Hey, I worked it. Our mission, I think this pretty much sums it up, is to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens. And that's something that we resonate every single day, and I want to take a moment real quickly because we have some people that are in the room that are with the Boys and Girls Club, so that are here to hopefully encourage me. But if they could just stand up and be recognized, I'd appreciate it. So Billy, Ryan, Justice, Alicia, thank you very much. So these people that that work at the Boys and Girls Clubs day in, day out. It's a tireless job. It's a work of love. It's a job that helps us, and we see kids where they are, and what can we do to make them better. And if we look at our storied history about how did we get to where we are today, the Boys and Girls Clubs of Toledo really go back to 1860. 1860, there were three young ladies in Hartford, Connecticut, Mary Goodwin, Alice Goodwin, and Elizabeth Hammersley, and Louise Bushnell, and they all believed that boys should have a positive alternative in their lives to help enable them to become great citizens. Well, unbeknownst to them, in 1892, here in Toledo, Ohio, on Christmas Day, a gentleman by the name of John Gunkel invited 102 rowdy downtown newspaper boys to a Christmas dinner. With support of local newspapers and prominent businessmen, he helped the boys organize the Toledo Newsboys Association. In 1906, the Federated Boys Clubs in Boston was formed with 53 charter members. So of interest, the Toledo Boys Club, or the old Newsboys, was a founding member of the movement, the federated model. So we were one of the original 53 in the United States to start the boys clubs in America, the federated model. In 1931, the federated model became the Boys Clubs of America. And of note, 1982, the organization expanded its service to girls. The initial program offered activities 1 day a week, and the pilot was a success, and over 3,000 girls joined that year. And I need to let you know that we have in Toledo, Ohio, our very first girl member who technically was participating as a member for a couple years beforehand because her brothers came, and she wanted to do, and she knew she could do as much as her brothers could. Anita Lopez, our county commissioner, was the very first girl member of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Toledo, and probably one of the first girl members of the movement as a whole. So pretty interesting that we have this storied history. I want to share with you that over the last several years, I'm so unused to being behind a podium. I like to walk around, so I'm going to walk around. So up here, we have our 9 clubs. So when I met with David Wermeister back in August of 2020, we had 4 clubs. We had our main facility, Homer Hannum, which was on Detroit and Monroe Street, and then we had 3 sites that were with our primary partner at Toledo Public Schools. We had the Carson Family Club at Marshall Elementary. We had our Wermeister Club at the time. It was just the North Club at Sherman Elementary, and then our East Toledo Club. But when we were coming out of the pandemic, we realized that there are a lot of kids that needed help. And as we were seeing in the upcoming slides, we saw that kids during the pandemic were falling behind, not just academically, but how they engaged and interacted with other kids, how they engaged and interacted in the community with others, and how they respected leaders. And so we said that we need to find a way to not only come back and be relevant, but we got to serve more kids as we emerge from the pandemic. So over the next 4.5 years, we expanded from 4 clubs to 9. We are now peppered all the way throughout the city of Toledo, partnering with the Toledo Public Schools, and most recently, in September of this year, at Hiawatha, there in the upper right-hand corner, Hiawatha Elementary School in Washington Local School District. So we know no bounds as far as the school district that we're a part of. We only know where the kids are in the city of Toledo and the greater Toledo metropolitan area to serve the kids, to give them the programming that they need. But we also realize, as the Boys and Girls Clubs of Toledo, as a member of the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, we can't do it alone. We only have so many resources that are available to us. So we partner with a lot of organizations that are here in Toledo. And this is just a sampling. Ironically, I don't know, Kevin, I don't know how this happened. You know, Rotary is there in the middle. I just kind of So do I get my dues for free next year with that little plug? Okay. But you can see that we do a lot of work with a lot of you in the room. Metro Parks, the zoo, the University of Toledo. We have our fifth-year students over here from Lourdes University, State of Ohio, Lucas County, City of Toledo. What's important is that we recognize that it takes a village, and it's the sum of all the parts that equal the sum. Okay, it's all the pieces that come together to make a unique experience for the kids. And so we look at ourselves as not just being the premier and the best programming for after-school programming for the kids, but as a conduit to partner with others to provide quality experiences for those kids. There we go. Now, what would be a good presentation without some statistics? You know, you have to have some numbers up here. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the impact of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Toledo and in America. So these numbers are from tail end of 2023, and we do a survey every year called NYOY, National Youth Outcome Initiative. And so what does the Boys and Girls Clubs of Toledo and the movement mean? And what's important with this is that these are numbers that are directly asked of our membership and the parents or the caregivers of those youth that participate in the Boys and Girls Clubs. So as an example, developing global competitive graduates, 52% of 12th grade club members express an interest in a STEM career. 97% of club teens expect to graduate from high school. 76% of low-income club members ages 12 to 18 who attend a club regularly report receiving mostly A's and B's compared to 67% of their peers nationally. It's not the recipe that's out there, it's what we do to help the kids when they come to the clubs. The moment that they come in, they drop off their backpack, they get checked in, they get an experience of how do we become good, productive young citizens. We help them with homework. We help them with learning other activities. We introduce them to other skills. They get fed a meal with our partner Connecting Kids to Meals. They get a snack at the end of the day. And when they go home, ideally, most, if not all, of their homework is done. And then they're introduced to club staff that they can look up to as a mentor. Additionally, 94% of the club members said that they are many things that they can do well as far as being healthier. 80% of club youth said that they understand how their feelings influence how they act. 66% of ninth grade club boys report they exercise daily as compared to 58% of ninth grade boys nationally. 47% of ninth grade girls report they exercise daily as opposed to 42% nationally. Again, healthy lifestyles, healthy experiences that we want to provide for our kids. On this next slide, we have a QR code. And this is something that's brand new. This just came out this year. Okay? It's called Youth Right Now. If there's 3 words that I want you to walk away from, it's Youth Right Now. Jim Clark, the president and CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of America, they've surveyed 140,000 youth around the country. And in this survey, they came back and they had a series of questions that were asked. They asked kids of the ages of 9 to 18 in a spotlight survey featuring nearly 3,000 teens and tweens in the high school years, specifically how they felt about themselves, the education process, the prognosis of the future, how they felt about being safe in the communities that they live, the schools that they attend. Wonderful data. And this is the type of data that we drive and we measure ourselves against to better ourselves here in Toledo, Ohio, to make us the best Boys and Girls Club possible. This just came out less than a month ago, but that QR code will take you to I think it's about 40 pages in length, but I think that it's a wonderful tool that if you're serving youth, please do take a look at this survey. There we go. So some of the takeaways from the youth right now: young people are facing substantial challenges. Okay, now that I'm bringing this up to a parenthetical level, challenges being, gee, my mom and dad are never home. When I come home, I'm alone by myself from 6 to 8 p.m. Okay, what do I do? Am I safe? When I come home, there is no food. What do I do? Clubs have a positive impact of outcomes on youth and alumni, and there is significant unmet demand that can be met by the services of the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. It's coming. There we go. Youth right now. 1 in 3 fourth graders demonstrate reading proficiency. More than 1 in 6 young people live in households experiencing poverty. 1.1 million fewer students enrolled in college. 1 in 4 eighth graders demonstrate math proficiency. 42% of high school students felt sad or hopeless last year. 4.8 million ages 16 to 24 neither working or are in school. Youth right now, the next slide. There we go. The market demands, unmet demand for after-school programming by year in millions. And you can look at this from 2004 to 2020. That upward slope. We're at 24.6 million unmet demand for after-school programs by year. Percentage of parents reporting that they did not enroll their child in an after-school program because of the following: programs are too expensive, no safe way for their child to get there, lack of available programming. So when we look at that survey and those results, we recognize that our work is not done. The After School Alliance put together some data in a 2020 survey that says for every child in an after-school program, 5 more children are waiting to get in. If an after-school program were available in 2020, 814,212 kids across the country would be participating. 265,187 kids were alone and unsupervised between 3 and 6 p.m. in 2020, in the height of the pandemic. Support for public funding funding is high across the political spectrum. 93% of Democrats, 84% of independents, and 88% of Republicans support funding for after-school programming. This is something that is extremely important for us to understand in this day and age. This is not a political thing. This is not a he, them, they, us issue. This is a real problem that children need us, and we need to be there for the children. Whatever it takes, this is our promise as we help kids become their best selves on their paths to great futures. And at the Boys and Girls Club, we focus on 6 key areas. We create safe places. We provide caring mentorship. We meet youth mental health needs, bridge the workforce readiness gap, champion inclusivity, and ensure our youth advocacy elevates issues impacting the kids we serve. With that, I want to introduce you all to a compatriot of mine. His name is Adam Shank. He's the CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Ohio Alliance, and he's going to walk you through a couple more slides. If you can, please give him a round of applause.
Thank you. I think Jim's more than capable of walking you through these, but I also think he likes having me here so that if he gets a math question afterwards, that he's got a data nerd he can push it off on, so he doesn't have to do it. One of the things that he walked through, I think, very effectively is that, and things that we've known for a long time, is that clubs have really strong social returns, right? You can see it in the youth stories, you can see it in the anecdotal data, on the survey data. It's there. And from the political spectrum, part of my job is a little bit of lobbying at the state level. And this really is a bipartisan effort because of those social returns. Jim also talked about the need pre-pandemic, but it was exposed during the pandemic in terms of what it was. And there was a huge infusion of federal dollars in the space. And one of the things that we saw going in was we knew that wouldn't continue forever. So use it as our experiment and opportunity to really demonstrate where those dollars are going and the impact that they're having. And so as part of that, in partnership with the governor's office, the director of education and workforce, we looked for a third-party partner to really evaluate and analyze the impact that clubs had, not only on a social level, but also on a fiscal level. And so the Voinovich School at Ohio University made it through the criteria and became that evaluator for us. And so what we had them look at was not necessarily the social impact, the individual results for the youth, but collectively how clubs impact communities in Ohio by their service through youth. And they were able to do the analysis based upon several factors. They looked at GDP data based upon capital investments. We looked at health risks and the avoidance thereof in terms of the impact that it would have, the impacts on mental health long-term, the impacts on community violence long-term, and several other factors. And they were able to quantify it. So Jim, if you could click through. So what we found at the end of the day, all said and done, is that for every dollar, I usually say the state, but it's really any dollar that comes in, invested in clubs, it generates a lifetime benefit of $35.16. This is one of these things that is a differentiating factor for clubs. There are a lot of people doing a lot of good things, and a lot of them will come and say, look at all the good we're doing. And I think that's true. What we wanted to do was validate that. So we know we have the social returns in terms of the impacts on youth. Now we can show that we also have the fiscal returns. So this breaks down into a couple different areas. That's probably really hard to see. We can get you a better version if you wanted to, but it tracks all the pathways in which communities benefit from the involvement of clubs from a fiscal standpoint. When you look at this annually, which I think is the next slide, it breaks down to, in the very first year, after that dollar you give, it generates for the communities $12.25 in economic and social impact. That is most, there's a couple different areas that I'd like to highlight. The capital investment is huge, but the investment for caregivers, right? So childcare is one of those things as clubs we don't, kind of stay away from. Under Ohio Revised Code, we're informal childcare. We don't charge for kids to come in, so we don't really fit the bucket in some of those. But what we do provide for caregivers is a safe place for their kids to go at times when they need. And what we found was it enables them to maintain hours, to keep a job, to find a new job, to do some of those things. So it's a double-edged sword for workforce. Not only does it help current caregivers, but also helps develop youth as the next line of employees for companies. Health benefits, Jim talked about, exercise and healthy lifestyles, risk behavior avoidance, but ultimately what we wanted to do is be able to show not only is this a sound social investment, but it's a sound fiscal investment for the communities as well, and it really depends on the partnerships that Jim talks about to keep that going.
So thank you again, Adam. So we talked about the return on investment, and I want to go back to one more slide that you saw a little bit earlier. It's the partners. Okay, it's not just the Boys and Girls Clubs of Toledo, but it's the sum of all the parts. It takes a village to serve our community and to serve our youth. There are awesome organizations that are out here. I mean, there's Hope Toledo, there's JA, there's a whole host of different organizations that are out here. But there's this gap that we serve that is critically important to our youth. And the partnership that we have with all of you, it validates that we believe that there's more to do. There are 60,000 children within the Toledo MSA that are living at or below the poverty level that need our help that we haven't even touched yet. And how do we do it? Well, it's like how do you eat an elephant? It's one bite at a time. We do it strategically and methodically. And the thing that we're working on now is we just unveiled and we are springboarding our new 3-year strategic plan. And the key to that for those that in the business world, which is most of you, but it's, how do you engage a plan? You manage the business to the plan and not the plan to the business. So one of the things when I came on board from the for-profit world, when David Wermeister, the gentleman who I have the privilege to follow, was to sit down and bring that business acumen back to the table and say, how do we build that plan to not just recover and recoup from the pandemic, but then how do we build a plan that says we serve more kids? Because our kids deserve a bright future, and this city, quite frankly, is probably the shining star within the state of Ohio with the Boys and Girls Clubs movement. We have 13 organizations within the state. There are a total of 4 major metro organizations. When they say major metro, that means a club that has multiple club sites within a city. So that would be Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati, and Toledo. And comparing all of our cities, major cities in the state of Ohio, we have the second most club locations. I think we're in alignment with Cincinnati. We're close to Columbus, and we're a little bit behind as far as number of club sites to Cleveland. But we probably, on average, our average daily attendance, we're right up there. I think we're number 2 in the state. We're in alignment with Columbus, Ohio. Again, a major metro area, but Toledo, Ohio, we're going out and we're finding the kids and we're serving them. So I encourage you that if you have an opportunity, this is our administrative office. It's also one of our headquarter location to serve kids. It's called Homer Hannum. It's on the intersection of Detroit and Monroe Street. We just went through a phase 1 renovation where we just renovated our main programming area on the first floor with OMAS dollars. We did not go to the public asking for money. Everything that we try to focus on and everything that we try to do working with all the different entities that are out there to say, believe in us, believe in Toledo, believe in the movement to make it better, but we encourage you to please come out and take a look. We'd be happy to show you it and happy to sit down with you and talk further about the Boys and Girls Clubs of Toledo and how you can partner with us to make things even better. With that, if there are any questions, Kevin, I'm more than happy to field questions as well.
I'm just hanging out here in the middle of the room. If anybody has questions, you're welcome to come here to the floor mic and ask questions. We've got probably about 5-10 minutes.
Hi, Jim.
Hey,
Good
John.
job.
Thank you.
I'll throw you a softball.
Uh-oh.
Could you talk about what led the Boys and Girls Club to partner with Toledo Public Schools and what gaps you're filling and how that's working out in general? Because I know it's been a big part of the growth of the organization.
No, absolutely. So back in 2006, we got together, David Burmeister and the leadership at Toledo Public Schools, and the evaluation was how can we get to kids where they would not have to travel? Because oftentimes, kids, they'd have to rely on public transportation, yellow bus service to try to go to a club. Bless you. And so we wanted to see how can we reach these children. And so we worked with Toledo Public Schools and with the tobacco settlement money back in around 2010, I believe in that era, we built 3 club spaces alongside 3 elementary schools within Toledo Public Schools, Carson, Sherman, and East Toledo or Broadway. This way, at the end of the school day, the children, all they have to do is they go back to their locker or go to their homeroom, and then they can walk right down the hallway and walk right into a Boys and Girls Club and have the club experience immediately. They never have to go outside. They don't have to rely on transportation. And they got the wonderful club experience that they deserve. Now that's actually moved on now just recently post-pandemic, and John, this is probably a little bit more than what you were asking, but the expansion that we just did now, there's a cost to building these club sites. And we recognize that there's a lot of demand for kids. So how did we get into these other club sites and into these other schools? Well, we developed a concept called the shared space concept. So what we did is we went back to Toledo Public Schools and then to Washington Local and made the recommendation. We truly would love to have space, our own space, but in space that the schools can use during the school day. But we're not going to go out to the community and try to raise money, and we're not going to, how can we do this? Because it's expensive. It's roughly about $315,000 a year to run a location, all in. So with our partnership with the schools, both at Washington Local and Toledo Public School, they said, why don't you use our classroom space? So we have dedicated classrooms, their commons area, and their gymnasium. And now we're serving kids in their existing space. They don't have to leave the building, and now we don't have to rely on, again, transportation, people being worried and scared about the communities that they live in. Am I going to be attacked on my way to school or the way home? No, you're in school. So we're meeting the kids where they are at, and that's critically important.
Thank you so much for the presentation. I think it's awesome, and I love to hear about what you're doing in the space to help Toledo youth. My question is, for those of us that have younger children or teenagers, or mine's a preteen, but how can they help? Is there some programming that they can help actually to give back to the Boys and Girls Club, to actually be a mentor to maybe to a younger person or something, or how can they get involved?
No, thank you very much for the question. Well, first of all, that we're open for kids to participate in the programming regardless. So I would encourage you to bring your kids, to the clubs. We have, for teens, 3 primary locations at Rogers High School for Rogers students. That's the Huber Club. We have the Schoenrock Club on Hill Avenue that's partnered with First Tee of Lake Erie, and then Homer Hannum, our primary club as well. And so I would encourage any tweens or teens that want to get involved to get involved. But then as far as volunteering, when your child is a member, they can volunteer as what we call a tech teen. Okay, so we have a tech teen program that is available for kids that's paid for 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, or if they would like. And here's something that's a challenge for all those that are maybe in the school administrator positions or previous Father O I see over there on my right-hand side. Is that if you want to have kids come over and volunteer, whether it's reading, whether it's helping with homework, or anything like that, by all means, call our office, and we are happy to discuss that and figure that out and get you in here and help the kids. So thank you.
I can hear myself. If any, what kind of extra programs or support would you provide for LGBTQ or questioning youth whose parents or peers might not support them?
Thank you very much for the question. So the one thing that's critically important with the Boys and Girls Clubs of America movement, and not just the Boys and Girls Clubs of Toledo, we embrace inclusivity of all youth. And to say that as far as questions, as far as children that have questions about themselves, that we do not necessarily have the social worker or or that type of benefit there, but we have skilled, trained professionals that can sit down and talk to and help with those questions and concerns that may arise. And then also point to resources that are available that are in the community and with our community partners to help them. Because again, we have kids that have approached us from a whole myriad of different backgrounds with a lot of different questions about why is my parent incarcerated? Why do I not have a parent that loves me? Why can I do this? I feel that I am that. And we are a safe place. We are a safe place for all children. And so If we don't have that level of expertise to help you one-on-one, we will find it and we will help you.
Thank you, Jim, so much for the presentation. One of the questions I have is there's a misconception about chapters that are part of a national strategy. And so thinking about the funding, the local organization of Boys and Girls Club, can you differentiate for us where the funding stops from the national, where the funding starts with your efforts here locally to serve everything that you're doing within the mission?
Sure. So the Boys and Girls Clubs of Toledo, we're part of what's called a federated model. Okay, so the Boys and Girls Clubs of America is headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, and very little money comes to us from the national movement. Our funding is typically going to be coming from government sources or from other nonprofits. So as an example, right now, the three largest funds of monies that come to support the Boys and Girls Clubs of Toledo are at the federal level through the Department of Education, and we usually get that funding from OJJDP. We get funding from the state and local level as well, Governor's Grant, TANF. We help with our expansion using OMAS or ESSER funds. The next piece is we look at the United Way has been a wonderful business partner of ours for a number of years, helping support the ongoing funding of the mission of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Toledo. And then lastly, it's donors like you. So reaching out for sustainable gifts, that support the growth, and also with business partners that come forward and say, how can we help serve the kids of the area in Toledo? Occasionally, there will be larger donors that may go back to the Boys and Girls Clubs of America saying that we're looking for organizations that are providing this type of expertise or have had demonstrated experience in providing this expertise. And they'll say disperse those funds to those organizations that have shown proficiency in doing that. And we've been beneficiaries, of some of those funds. But no, we're a standalone organization, part of the federated model, and work aggressively to serve the kids here locally. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hang on, I got. So Jim, thank you for your presentation. Thank you for the work that you and your staff do here in the community. As a gift, we've got a copy of Historical Tales of Toledo, as our members know, authored by past President Clint Mock. We're also going to make a donation in your name to the Polio Plus Fund to join with Rotary International efforts to eradicate polio. So one more round of applause for Jim Ravas. Adam, I guess you also presented too, so if you want a book, we can get you one. We've got a couple of them. All right, so I've got a little exercise we're going to do here in a minute, but join us next week. We have Dr. LaCharde Scott, fellow Rotarian, the president and CEO of the Scott Center, discussing sickle cell disease. We will be off the following week in observance of a long Thanksgiving weekend, and then we've got two great programs left before the end of the calendar year. Foundation Day is December 9th, and the Symphony is December 16th. So we look forward to seeing all of you here for that. We're still collecting coats for Cares for Kids. Please bring a warm coat. You can bring it to the Rotary meeting, or you can drop it off at the Rotary office. We appreciate your support for that. We do have two committee meetings this afternoon. I'm sorry, we have one. Membership is meeting in Summit A. Can I have everybody, I know you love it when I do this, can I have everybody stand? I'm not going to embarrass anybody this time. If you do not have a LinkedIn page, go ahead and sit down. If you are in the fifth year program, you can go ahead and sit down. Just saving your legs. If you have never had any sort of business communication, closed a deal, networked with somebody, scheduled a meeting, done anything professionally with LinkedIn, go ahead and sit down. So I say this for all of the fifth year students to look around the room and to see the value of a tool like LinkedIn. And I say this to all of you Rotarians who are standing. You can go ahead and sit down now. Today's program, we have our students from fifth year that are here. Bethany Hefflinger, the co-chair of vocational services, is going to be teaching a class on LinkedIn for our fifth year students. You are all invited to stick around and be a part of that, share your expertise, share your experiences with the students. We would love to have you all do that. If you are not sticking around for the presentation, we would love it if you would take all of your networking out into the hallway. I think we got that. All right, so with that, we are adjourned. Go out and make it a great day. Oh, wait, I forgot. Hang on. I forgot. So we had a great event. We've had some really cool events. It's fun seeing Rotarians, I say, out in the wild. The Association of Fundraising Professionals honored some incredible human beings this past week. I know Billy Mann, who's here with Boys and Girls Club, is the co-chair of National Philanthropy Day. I also know that Deb Ayers with the Avalon Foundation, all the way back over there, her daughter Avalon was honored as the Outstanding Young Philanthropist, so congratulations, Mom. And I know they're really excited I'm doing this. The Palmers in the back of the room were honored as Outstanding Philanthropists, a very well-deserved honor. And with that, we are adjourned. Go out and make it a great day.